Hello, my name is Hannah Mays, and I'm here to make the world a better place. One video at a time. Let's get started. Disclaimer, here we go. I'm not a therapist. That's it. Just think of me as your sister who wants to help you and loves you and wants you to live your best life and is proud of you no matter what you've gone through because you are still here and that's what matters. These are 5 tips to help you cure depression. I started having depression when I was probably in high school. I had a lot of emotional issues in middle school, and they kind of transformed into depression. There are many different types of depression. I feel like mine is situational. There's situational depression, seasonal depression, clinical depression. There's neurotransmitters that you're missing from your brain, or not missing, but there's less than there needs to be, and so that's kind of what SSRIs do. Don't really need to get into that, because listen, I'm not a therapist. Okay, moving on. The first way to help you through your depression is to do the exact opposite of whatever you want to do. So you want to lay in bed all day? Instead, why don't you go outside and take a walk? Being outside can really help. And if it's too hot, too cold, go to the gym and take a walk on the treadmill. I promise no one's gonna be like, wow, that person's not actually working out. A lot of times people at the gym are a lot less judgmental than you think they are. You want to eat ice cream all day? Why don't you try something like frozen yogurt or just plain yogurt? Or you want a really fattening pizza? Why don't you try like making your own pizza from scratch? In the short term, sugar and carbs will help you feel better. It's not actually how you want to live your life. It's not sustainable and it's not helping you toward your goals. It's gonna make you feel worse about yourself later than eating a piece of fruit would or making your own pizza. Like, there's a sense of accomplishment if you cook something, because you've made something, and it's not quite the same as going into your freezer and bringing out the carton of ice cream and eating an entire ice cream carton. Like, perhaps there's a sense of achievement, but probably not the sense that you would really want. If you are really low, and you cannot make yourself get out of bed, then perhaps doing the opposite of getting out of bed for you means turning on the TV and watching a show and kind of making yourself wake up. The opposite of sleeping is waking up, even if that's watching TV. And if you want to watch TV, instead of watching TV, go on a walk. It's just kind of like where you are in your depression. Try to gauge it. Like, I'm not saying that eating ice cream is a no-no if you're depressed. Like, no way. Like, if you don't feel like eating and ice cream is the only thing that you want to eat, by God, have some ice cream. Even if it's not completely healthy, it's better than eating nothing. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, when I am depressed, I don't clean, and that can be pretty problematic because I live alone. If I don't clean up after myself, it becomes a huge mess real quick. What I do is, if I really can't clean and I've gotten to the point where everything's piled up and it's very stressful and I just procrastinate until it's really, really bad, I listen to a podcast that I really like. I'm pretty into the Model Health Show by Sean Stevenson. It's just a health show about mental, emotional health, physical health. He really goes in depth, and so I'll listen to his podcast while I'm cleaning. But there's so many podcasts out there. You can listen to comedy podcasts, news podcasts. I'm also into Radiolab. It's not really news, but it's stories. It doesn't really make me laugh, but it's very interesting, and I feel like I've learned. I'll kind of reward myself as I'm cleaning to make it more fun, and then find a reward at the end of, like, reward myself after I'm done cleaning. I'm gonna watch my favorite YouTuber, or I'm gonna watch my favorite Netflix show after I'm done cleaning. And usually it'll take me an hour to clean, because it gets really bad sometimes. At the end of it, I feel so accomplished and I feel better. And so I would just say, do the opposite of what you want to do. Be very present with your thoughts. My therapist calls it mindfulness. If you can recognize what you want and go in the opposite direction, do it. The way I see depression is like, this is not professional, but the way I see it is there's a little worm in your brain and it kind of tells you things about yourself that aren't true. It's a big liar. It'll tell you that you've never been happy before, that you can't be happy again. It'll tell you that if you try to do things, it's not gonna help because the worm thinks it's in control. But the truth is you're still in control. And recognize that depression is an illness, but it's not who you are. Number 2, please excuse my nails. That's not the second one, but like they're all nice, except for this one. I don't know what happened. Actually, I do know what happened. I bit it too much and then it fell off. Number 2 is my least favorite one, but it's very important. I think that without this one, I would still be in the depths of despair, and that is to ask for help. Just ask for help. I know that there's people in your life that support you. That could be friends, that could be family, that could be your therapist, that could be the suicide hotline. There are many places that you can get help. Start with the most supportive people. I had a moment not too long ago where I reached out to all of my friends, all of my family, and no one picked up. Things come up, and there are about 5 to 10 people that I trust with anything, and I called them and no answer. So what I did was I called suicide hotline and I just talked with them for 30 minutes. Like that's all it took until I started feeling better. This also applies to doctors. Like you may think that medication is something to be ashamed of, but the truth is that depression is kind of like any other disease. Like diabetes, for example. If you don't know much about diabetes, it's okay because I don't either. All I know is you're insulin resistant and suddenly your body doesn't function the way that it should. But if you take insulin, your body's like, oh, I can do what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you take medication for depression, your body, your mind is saying, oh, now I have the receptors and the neurotransmitters that I need to function properly. Please don't be afraid of medication. I take medication. And here's another problem with medication. I used to think I didn't deserve medication because I didn't have a lot of self-respect or self-love. I didn't do self-care. And I know it's a huge thing. Self-care is a huge thing right now, which is great. It should continue to be a huge thing. People should really learn what they love and do what they love and love themselves completely. But sometimes if you don't, like me, then you feel like you don't deserve to feel better. And that's the lies, okay? That's what I'm talking about. The worm is lying to you again. The worm is telling you you aren't good enough for medication. Even if you had medication, it wouldn't do anything. If you have this medication, people will look at you differently. And the truth is, no one has to know you take medication. That's a very personal thing. You can keep it to yourself if you want to. And if you want to, you can tell anyone who wants to hear it. So my encouragement to you is that if it's really bad and you can't pick yourself up in the morning, go to your doctor and see what they have to say about medication. Number 3, stop chewing. I don't know why I thought eating an orange in the middle of this video was a good idea, but it was a good idea and I'm so glad I did it. Back to the video. Number 3, set goals in the morning. I have a planner that has an hourly schedule of everything I'm gonna do that day. Do I use it? No. Should I? Yes. Every morning, give yourself a to-do list and write it down because studies show that if you write it down physically, you are more likely to do it than if you write it down in your head. I promise. Sean Stevenson said so. Believe him. Health podcast. Let's go. These can be things as simple as brush your teeth, take a shower, put on deodorant. Like putting checks on them, accomplishment for sure. If you need those small accomplishments to build to your bigger accomplishment, yes, do it. He's got some attitude today. Chill, dog. Then move on to the bigger things. So I don't work right now. I'm a student. I have homework. I have tests, quizzes, assignments, class. If you're the type of person that doesn't eat when they're depressed, which I'm not, like I will eat everything. If you don't eat that much when you're depressed, put eating on your list of things to do so you can remind yourself to eat. So good. Okay, sorry. Numero quattro. The things you say to yourself are going to be the things you believe. And the things you believe about yourself are the actions that you're going to do to yourself. That looks like self-talk. I know that this is a big thing and what I'm saying is not new, But when you have that thought in your brain, you better not be saying, what an idiot. How could I do this again? Or you messed up your diet, you messed up your homework, you got a bad grade, you did bad at work, you had a social interaction that didn't go as well as you wanted it to. Instead of being hard on yourself, treat yourself like you would treat your best friend or your mom. If I wouldn't say this to my best friend, and I wouldn't say this to my brother, and I would cry if they said this to themselves, then why am I saying it to myself? And everyone says, you're your own worst critic. And it's something you have to remember, that worm, here he is again in your brain telling you lies, that you aren't smart, that you aren't beautiful, that you don't deserve to be proud of yourself. All those things are so false. You deserve to be proud of yourself. And when you have accomplishments, instead of saying, yeah, well, that was because of something else, say, yeah, that's because I worked hard and because I have a good work ethic. I really encourage you to write down a couple things about yourself that are positive and hold on to these truths. And when you're going through a hard moment, turn back to that exercise and say, I am smart, I am thoughtful, I am kind, and keep going down this list of things that you know are true about yourself. And the more that you love on yourself, the more good traits that you're gonna find about yourself. So it started with the way you think about yourself, what you believe about yourself, and the way you act on yourself. There's so many ways that you can love on yourself. If you really just need a bowl of ice cream, get yourself that bowl of ice cream. If you really want to eat healthy and you've been working on that, eat healthy, take a bath, listen to music, exercise the way you like to exercise. It doesn't have to be yoga. Like, I'm more into bar myself. It's okay. The main point is that this is a skill that you need to learn. It's not something that's built into all of us unless you have like amazing parents, in which case, like, teach me how to parent like that, because I need to know, not that I'm a parent, just that I hope to be a parent one day. So I've been teaching myself how to love myself for like years now, and I still mess up, and it's still okay to say I am who I am as an individual. I deserve to live my best life, #best life, and move on from hardships, and don't dwell on them, because dwelling on them does nothing. Like, learn your lesson that you need to learn and move on. Do not dwell. Numero cinco. I don't know Spanish. Why am I saying it? Okay. I know a little bit of Spanish. Hola, taco. Number 5 is you need to treat the cause, not the symptom. This kind of goes back to what I said about medication. It's kind of what I said when I said, like, look at your thoughts before you look at your actions, and before you look at your words, like, look at your thoughts first. Even earlier when I said there's different kinds of depression, like, figure out what the source is, like, what's causing your depression. Is it just weather? Is it just seasonal? Or is it situational? Did you go through some really difficult time, like maybe dealing with a little bit of PTSD with your depression? Or is there something that is chemically, like a chemical imbalance in your brain that you really can't help? And if all of these things will require different treatments. I really hope that I've helped you in some way. Even if you know all of these steps, I hope that having them all together in one place can really reiterate that you really do deserve all the best, and you deserve to take care of yourself, and you deserve to have other people help you, and you deserve all of these steps. You deserve to be proud of yourself, and you deserve to get out of depression, and you're worthy. And that's something that I've had to tell myself countless times, is it's okay if I treat myself sometimes. It's okay if I care for myself. It's okay if I think good things about myself, because in reality, that's healthy. In conclusion, I don't know how to conclude, so I'm just gonna say I really hope this helped you, and if it did, don't be scared to like the video or subscribe if you're feeling crazy. Okay, I'm gonna go eat an orange now because I've been like looking at them this whole time like I've already eaten one. See you next time.